Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the JRBN Thoughtcast. My name is Nick, and today I'm going to be leading the discussion about ADHD. ADHD is a disorder. It stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. And chances are, if you don't have it, you probably don't know a whole lot about it, unless you're a doctor or something. So that's what we're here to talk about. So the first thing we're going to talk about is you don't know what it's like to have ADHD. Mm-hmm. So you can't relate to me, as I have ADHD. Mm-hmm. And so I want to know what you guys, when the words ADHD come up in a conversation, what connotation do you guys get from that?
I mean, I know it's kind of incorrect, probably, but I don't know, like a kid kind of bouncing off the walls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Without banking on the research that I did before this podcast, what I would think about, what my first thought would be is like pretty much almost around the lines of what Jacob said. I mean, obviously I wouldn't say like, oh, I know this is exactly what it is without researching it. But without researching it, the first thing that would come to mind would be like someone who has trouble focusing, or someone who's like hyper, normally like a kid who like, I don't even like, it's just like kind of the weird kid in class who's very sort of like bouncing off the walls. That's sort of what I think about.
But it's always like a kid too, isn't it? Like when you think about it, it's like a kid in your class. I don't really think about adults as having ADHD. I don't know why. True. Yeah. It doesn't. I don't know. It seems weird.
Well, that's what I am, an adult who has ADHD, and I'll be the first one to tell you.
Adult.
Huh? 19 years old is an adult. So.
Yeah.
So. Well, what I just want to talk about is how it manifests. Is it how there are three different types of symptoms that you get. The first one is inattention. Just means that you wander off task constantly. You lack the persistence to continue doing a task. You just get distracted really easily. And secondly, like, is hyperactivity. And that's the stereotype that you guys all have of like a kid bouncing off the walls. When I'm not taking my medicine, it is hard to sit still. Like, there have been times when I've tried to watch a movie and I haven't had my medication, and I just wasn't able to focus on it. I kept moving around and I kept playing with things. I'm actually playing with an object right now because habit.
That's okay.
Let's see. And thirdly, impulsiveness. A lot of people with ADHD, they don't really, how do I word this? It's hard for them to, like, they want things now. So with me, for example, like, I'll see something on the shelf at a store and I'll be like, oh, I need that. And then like 20 minutes after I bought it, I'm like, I didn't need that. So it could be like an impulsive action. Like let's say I'm working on my car or something, and something isn't, I can't get a bolt undone. There have been times, like, someone with ADHD might end up getting a little bit frustrated with the fact that he can't get the bolt off, so he might take some impulsive action and accidentally break something on the car.
So would you say it is almost like a lack of patience in some states?
I would say so. I think it's, yeah, that's a good one. So let's just read what it says from the National Institute of Mental Health.
I'll put the link in the description. We're going to be referencing it
so
a bit.
Back onto the impulsivity. It says that impulsivity means when a person makes hasty actions that occur in the moment without first thinking about them, and that may have a high potential for harm or a desire for immediate rewards or an inability to delay gratification. That's the word I was looking for earlier. It's the ability to delay gratification. An impulsive person may be socially intrusive and excessively interrupt others or make important decisions without considering the long-term consequences. So, yeah, it's something that's a little bit hard to deal with. It's been a pain in the ass, I'll tell you. It makes learning a lot harder. Like, it's kind of a struggle. It's not something I would want other people to have. I don't want them to. I wouldn't want my future kids having it, because it's really just not a fun thing to deal with. Like,
yeah, and another interesting thing on that, sort of like you wouldn't want your kids to have it. We were looking into this, and according to the National Institute of Mental Health, as we've said before, some of the risk factors. I'm just going to list off some of the risk factors that it's sort of like what causes ADHD, because a lot of people are like, well, they don't know. It's kind of, it's not something that you can catch from somebody. It's, that's always a weird thing to understand, like the origins of a mental illness or a mental health issue, because it's such a weird avenue to go into. But the risk factors, as it puts it, are like, it says scientists are not sure what causes ADHD. Like many other illnesses, a number of factors can contribute to ADHD, such as genes. So, they've done some, I don't see any actual statistics here, but they've done some research and have concluded that some people, like if their parents had ADHD, it's more likely of a kid to have it. So genes, cigarette smoking, alcohol use, or drug use during pregnancy. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of shit that can go wrong with your baby if you do any of that stuff during pregnancy. So, it goes without saying, just don't do that. Exposure to environmental toxins during pregnancy. That one's a little bit more interesting. I don't know what they'd classify as that, but
maybe pesticides.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, exposure to environmental toxins such as high levels of lead at a young age. I can believe that. Low birth weight and brain injuries. That one I can also see. So how... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jacob.
Oh, so you were talking about, Nick, you were talking about earlier how, like, you wouldn't want your kids to have it, or it's not something you want other people to have, like, so, I mean, obviously it's not a good thing, or it has a negative effect, so, like, I mean, like, how does it, like, I mean, I guess, first of all, how, like, does it affect people in school usually?
Well,
from what you've seen and, like, your personal experiences.
Well, in my personal experience, like, if I forget to take my medication, then I will not be able... Here's an example I'll put. So one time I was... Like, when I was having my graduation party, I was supposed to write a bunch of thank yous for everyone who had given me gifts. And that day I hadn't taken my medication because it was the weekend. I didn't feel like it. And it was a task that... It was just writing thank you cards, and it's a task that should have taken an hour tops, given it was like 20 or 30 people that I was writing thank yous for. Or I don't know how many. But guess how long it took me?
How long?
It took me about 5 or 6 hours because I was so distracted. And because I hadn't taken the medication for the day. So that's that's what I mean by how bad it can affect you when you're getting distracted. It's really a lot more than what you imagine with just the kid bouncing off the walls. Like, you can't pay attention. It's harder to focus on what you're doing. It's just something that, yeah, I wouldn't want my kid to have. And in school, when I've forgotten, like, it takes a lot of mental power, but I've found that I'm able to not get too distracted at school as long as I focus my mind. And yeah, it's difficult to do, but I manage it.
Well, that's good.
But like, even with the medication in school, I still will like fidget in my chair, or like play with a pencil or something, or I've always got to have something in my hand. You guys have probably noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah, I think a lot of people like who don't have ADHD like us, at least for me, like I think of it, and I mean obviously it's not this way, but when I think of ADHD, it's more like it's not a very serious disorder, almost, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously it is,
Mhm.
and it can affect people pretty drastically.
here's another thing I'll say in regards to how it affects you at school. I have some family friends, and they have a son my age, and my parents seem to think their son has ADHD, but his parents are very against medication or of any form,
Mm-hmm.
and so they're just like weird people, you know.
Like those homeopathic
There's something
type
like,
of people.
yeah, they don't
Yeah.
want to. They don't want to take any kind of prescription, and they don't want to take him to the doctor because whatever reason.
Does
But I think
vaccines give you autism.
something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know. But this person who I've been friends with since I was little. He lives in my neighborhood. He's had trouble with school, and he almost didn't graduate from college. And yeah, my mom had told me that she thought that he had ADHD, and that was the reason for him struggling in school. And what his parents thought was that he was just lazy or something else.
Mm-hmm.
They thought that he was just, I don't know, stupid or dumb or whatever they thought. And so I don't know if he actually does. He'd have to have a doctor
Yeah.
tell him that. But she says that this person has similar symptoms to me, and so that's how it can affect you. And if you in school, if you don't have the medication that you need for it. So what do you want, Jacob?
I mean,
What do you want to say?
I want to say, like, I've seen that happen before too. Like, some family friends I knew, they had I think he's a junior now, but like really smart kid. Up until his junior year, he like didn't need to study or anything. He could just get through everything. And then, I mean, he must have had ADHD his whole life, I suppose. But his junior year, his grades just fell because school got to the point where he actually needed to concentrate, and he wasn't able to get that done, and his grades just dropped just dropped bad. But again, yeah, like with those people, initially his family thought he was crazy lazy. They didn't think it could be like ADHD or something. So do you think there's like a stigma around it, and that like a lot of people with ADHD go like undiagnosed?
I think it's more of people having some more primitive viewpoints on like medication, or like the whole like vaccine thing where people thought it caused autism or something.
Mm-hmm.
People are afraid of being put on a medication, or they're afraid of modern medicine. Like my grandparents actually, when I was first being diagnosed, I think I was like 4 or 5 years old, and one of the things my grandma had told my mom was that she doesn't want me put on any kind of medication. Basically what she wanted was she's one of those religious people who think that the Bible has all the answers to that kind of a thing. But
So pray the ADHD away.
something like that. But,
Yeah.
but yeah,
No, I understand
like
what you're saying.
I get it.
like I'm not gonna like I do believe in God, but I don't think that he interferes in those kinds of things. He just it's just something that happens. Some people, and it's a stigma that needs to be changed so that a lot more kids can get the help they need to be able to succeed in classes. Like, trust me, you guys don't think wouldn't think anything was wrong with me if I wasn't.
Not necessarily. I'm not that kind of person who's just like trying to on the lookout for illnesses people might have, you know. I have an assumption, you know. I think that just in general as a society, we're in like the middle of like a plague of ignorance, and uneducation. And I tend not to make any assumptions on anything if I'm not educated about it and if I don't know for certain, because then it just kind of turns into me looking like an ass if I'm just, making a general assumption. And I think a lot of people are just like making assumptions about something they don't know a lot about. And it's like, unless you have been diagnosed, and there's something on here that says specifically like, you to officially have it, you must be diagnosed by someone who is qualified to do that.
Which goes for,
right?
I'm pretty sure that goes for like
that goes
all
for
mental
everything.
illnesses
Yeah, like
and diseases.
But the point I was trying to make was that they just seem like normal kids, and but they just might have struggle with school or struggle with other areas. Sometimes it manifests itself in a lack of social skills because like I said above, that the impulsiveness that sometimes someone might interrupt someone and not realize it's wrong or something. Like,
yeah, I get that.
And but basically the point I want to make is that like just having that medication really helps a lot, and it's just it's something I like. It'd just be horrible not to have the medication I have right now. Like,
like how like drastic of a difference in your life would it be? Like, would you just be unable to function normally, or would it be?
It wouldn't be
extremely hard.
It wouldn't be like I was. It wouldn't be like like someone with Down syndrome or something who has to live with their family for the rest of their life or something.
Yeah.
I would be able to take care of myself, but it would just. I would probably not have. I would not have good grades in my classes. I probably wouldn't be going to college. If I was undiagnosed, my family would probably just think, "Oh, he's too dumb for that kind of stuff," or something like that. Basically, just that medication does so much for you, and when so many kids with ADHD go undiagnosed, it's just not a good thing. It basically inhibits them from achieving any kind of dreams they want to have. Like I wouldn't say it absolutely inhibits them, because of course people can get through it without the medication, but it's just a lot harder without it.
Right.
Harder than it needs to be.
Yeah.
It's sad because you see there's a lot of people that I've seen who I've seen have kids like that, and I can tell that in my personal knowledge and experience, I can tell that their child isn't suffering from like, oh well, my kid's just lazy, like, well, I just need to teach him like I wasn't like that, and whenever I was like that, my parents were just like, well, you're just being lazy and I'm gonna take stuff away until you realize that you need to be better. Like at some point you can't be so barbaric with your parenting, and you gotta actually identify the issue, and until you can solve the issue you have to identify it first, and that's what I think.
Something I've noticed with some people is like, I've noticed a lot of people, like parents, don't like to diagnose or don't want to admit that something's wrong with their kid. Kind of like,
yeah.
I used to know this family, and they had a kid, and this kid is like he definitely has some serious problems. Like, I mean, forget how old he was. I haven't seen him in a while, but I think he was like
the person we went to Boy Scouts with.
No, you guys, you don't know these people, but I think the kid was 10 years old, and he was already had suicidal tendencies.
Oh man!
So I mean, like, he openly said he had contemplated killing himself already. I mean, it's a 10-year-old kid. So I mean, obviously this kid had problems, but the parents didn't want to take him to a psychiatrist or take him to a doctor or anything. They just didn't want to admit that there was something wrong with their kid for whatever reason. Maybe it was because
pride thing.
Yeah, it could be a pride thing. Like, oh, damn it, I screwed up my kid. I'm such a bad parent. I don't want the world to know that I'm such a horrible parent. But I mean, just for whatever reason, I think that's a problem. Like, parents, for some reason there's a bunch of parents listening to our show. Thank you for listening, first of all. But
don't be afraid to admit that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like,
do what's best
if
for
you
your
can
kids.
tell there's something
So
wrong.
I want to have you guys listen to some statistics just to show how many. So
boy.
it says that there are. This is according to ADD-itude. It says strategies and support for ADHD and LD, and so I don't know if it's reliable or not, but it looks pretty reliable. So it says on average 1 to 3 children who have ADHD in every classroom of 30 students. Let's see. Oh, never mind. I can't find the statistic I wanted.
What
see.
statistic were you looking for?
Dropout rates. Oh, here it is. Okay. So it says 21% of teens with ADHD skip school repeatedly. 35% eventually drop out of school. 45% have been suspended, and 35 have failed or had to repeat a year of school. I don't know if this is a current statistic or not, but yeah, it's not showing a year on here, so I don't know if that's current or not. But those kind of numbers are not a good thing.
No.
Like 35% of them dropping out, and 30% failing, or having to repeat a year of school.
Well, that 16-year-old kid I talked about earlier, he pretty much failed his junior year because they didn't diagnose him in time. I mean,
Yeah, it's if you don't be so afraid of it to not fix the problem, because if you don't know it's there, then it's just gonna go on wrecking someone's life without having knowledge of the problem and taking steps to make it better. You know, like has no known cure, but it doesn't mean that you can't, make it better and go take the medication you need and know how to, solve and jump over this hurdle in your life.
yeah.
Just because you don't want to accept it, Life has some ugly truths, and we just gotta take them. We can't ignore them. That's what I think.
And I just found a little article on here. It talks about ADHD in adults, and it just talks about how a lot of people who have gone through graduated or not graduated, and they've reached adulthood, and they've gone undiagnosed. And it's just talking about how it's never too late to, if you feel like you have the three problems: inattention, impulsivity, and hyperactivity, you might want to actually talk to your doctor about it. So yeah, it's never too late to actually get diagnosed for it. If you really think it's a problem, it's something that it's a serious thing that could affect your work. It could affect school. Could affect relationships that you have with people. It's just not. It's a lot harder than people might think. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and complain about how my life's been so horrible because of it, but because I've been fortunate enough to have access to that medication. Yeah. That does so well for me. But it's just important to get diagnosed with it, and you guys have any other questions about it?
I don't.
No.
I think we did a good job.
No.
Yeah, the important thing is to make sure that, just make sure to keep that keep thinking about that, and make sure if you do have these kind of issues, you make sure you get diagnosed. Make sure you figure out what the issue is, because it's hard going through life without the proper help.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if that sort of wraps that up, you don't have anything else to say? I'll wrap it up for you.
I guess I don't. I think
All right.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think I've covered enough.
Awesome. That was pretty good. Thank you guys for listening thus far. If you did, be sure to go to our Facebook page, like, comment, subscribe on this video, like us on Facebook if you can. I do want to open up the comment section and our Facebook page to requests for topics on the Thoughtcast. If you don't request anything, we'll always have something to talk about, but we will take requests if there's something you guys want to know more about. Even if we'll research it, someone will. Someone will. I mean, I will if nobody else does.
We'll do it now.
I will if nobody else does.
I
And
mean,
we'll talk about it.
Just
Within
I will
reason.
too. I will make that commitment.
yeah, I mean,
I'll research it too.
we will do our best, but
Mm-hmm.
like don't be ridiculous with your suggestions. Like, don't be like explaining string theory to us.
Quantum physics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we can always take a stab at it though.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we can give you a general overview of some stuff, but
Wikipedia.
yeah, I can quote.
We
Wikipedia
can read
summary.
a Wikipedia entry
Yeah.
for you.
But nevertheless, we will. I do plan on announcing what the topic will be the week, sort of maybe the Wednesday or sort of in the middle of the week before the Thoughtcast is supposed to come every other Sunday. So next Sunday we have Casual Cast. So be sure to tune back in for that. If you guys don't enjoy sort of the more intelligent conversation and you want to just sort of listen to a bunch of guys sort of goof off and talk about other stuff that isn't always so serious, just tune in next Sunday for Casual Cast. We like to have sort of both sides of the spectrum.
Dumb and intelligent.
Because we are both that. But yeah, thank you guys.
Individuals.
Thank you guys for listening. Be cool. Have a good day. Don't forget your lunch. Bye.
Take your pill.
Yeah, take your Medicaid. Take your meds. Yeah.
See you guys.